Hi, greetings, fellow Slayers. Well, our look at Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 2 now concludes with Becoming Part 2. The two policemen grab Buffy as she pleads for them to let her check on her friends. They accompany Buffy outside the library as Principal Snyder arrives with more cops. Buffy hopes that Snyder will tell the police that she was not involved in the attack, but tells the officers that if there is trouble around, Buffy is behind it. She calls him a stupid little troll. To escape being arrested for Kendra's murder, Buffy strikes the cop holding her and flees, becoming a fugitive from the law. Disguised, Buffy finds Xander in the hospital and they enter comatose Willow's room. Cordelia arrives, admitting that she had run away from the fighting to save herself. Buffy learns that Willow may wake up from her coma, but the longer she stays unconscious, the less likely her recovery becomes. They all realize that Giles is missing. Oh no! Angel wakes Giles and announces his intention to torture him for information concerning the ritual to awaken Akafla, although hoping that Giles resists so Angel can torture him. The police visit incredulous Joyce, informing her that Buffy is wanted fugitive for Kendra's murder. Joyce tries to protest, insisting that there is some mistake. She mentions that Buffy is supposed to be her friend Willow, and the police tell her that Willow is one of the other victims. They also remind Joyce of Buffy's violent history, and ask Joyce to contact them when she hears from her daughter. Buffy finds Whistler in Giles' apartment. They discuss Angel. He tells her no one foresaw Buffy, that Angel was supposed to be stopping Agatha, not bring him forth, but that was before Buffy erased his soul. He asks her what she intends to do about this, and tells her in the end she's all she's got. As she leaves, he tells her blessed sword is not enough, that she must know how to use it. As she walks down the street, a policeman recognizes her and tries to arrest her. Spike shows up and knocks him out. After exchanging punches, he strikes a deal with her. He'll help stop Angel if she allows him and Drusilla to leave town. Spike explains that while vampires might love to talk about destroying the world among themselves, he prefers the world as it is. Moreover, he cannot stand the way Drusilla acts around Angel. While Buffy is suppressed by his speech, he reminds her that they have her watcher. Spike is all she has got, and that neither of them can fight both Angel and Drew alone. Buffy accepts the ceasefire and decides to talk with Spike inside her home, but she is intercepted in the driveway by her mother, who demands to know what is going on. Spike is surprised and amused to discover that Joyce has no idea that Buffy is the Slayer. When Joyce demands to know what is going on, Buffy tries to cover up by saying that she and Spike are in a band together. However, they are attacked by a vampire sent by Angel to follow Spike, and Joyce watches in shock as Buffy slays the creature. After this display, Buffy is forced to explain her destiny as the Slayer to her mother, who has significant difficulty accepting the truth. In the hospital, Xander tells the comatose Willow that he loves her. She wakes and asks for Oz, who appears in the room. She tells him that her head feels big and asks him if it is, in fact, big, and he responds, "No, it's head-sized." Back at the Summers home, there is an awkward silence between Joyce and Spike. Joyce recognizes him from somewhere and asks him about it. Spike cheerfully says she hit him on the head with an axe once. Both are very happy when Buffy shows up, getting them out of their awkward silence. Buffy says she'll accept Spike's offer, although she says it to let Drew walk because she killed Kendra. Spike expresses surprise and pride that Drew bagged the Slayer, but they realize this is probably not the best thing to say in front of Buffy. He insists that Buffy will get no help from him if Drew is harmed, and she accepts these terms, but she warns that Drusilla only walks if Giles survives. Spike leaves the house, and in a dramatic argument, Joyce insists Buffy must tell her everything, and tries to prevent her from leaving. Buffy tells her mom that she wishes she could be a normal teenager, but she has to go save the world, again. Joyce tells her daughter not to come back if she leaves the house. Buffy looks shaken, yet leaves without hesitation. Aww. On her hospital bed, Willow, despite protests from Xander, decides to try the curse again. She sends Oz and Cordelia after her supplies, which had been left in the library after the attack. She tells Xander to tell Buffy her plans, hoping she can stall until the curse is complete. Spike, back in his wheelchair, discovers a frustrated Angel on the verge of killing Giles, who has withstood excessive torture without revealing his knowledge of the ritual. Spike, who must keep Giles alive so that Buffy will let Drew leave, uses reason to persuade Angel not to kill Giles. Spike suggests another way of getting the information and asks Drew if she wants to play a game. Buffy returns to the library to retrieve Kendra's sword, where she runs into Snyder, who expels her, even though he knows that she's not the murderer. She insists that the truth will be revealed, and he points out that the law enforcement authorities in Sunnydale are deeply stupid. Buffy pulls Kendra's sword out and says, You never ever got a single date when you were in high school, did you? After she leaves, Snyder calls the mayor with the good news of her expulsion. Drusilla uses her psychic powers to read Giles and discover his weakness. She controls the information she wants by hypnotizing him so that she appears as Jenny in his eyes. He reveals that Angel must use his own blood, not someone else's, to awaken Agatha. Angel orders Giles killed, but Spike is able to put this off by claiming he could be lying. Angel agrees to compliment Spike on his seemingly clever thinking. Buffy, knowing the crucifix Angel gave her when they first met, returns to Whistler to ask him about how to defeat Agatha, who tells her Angel's blood will send both evil things back to hell. Blood opens it, blood closes it. It's also great significance that the quicker she kills Angel, the easier it will be. She says it will be no problem. She's already lost everything. After she leaves, Whistler says she's got one more thing to lose. On her way to the mansion, Xander arrives with Willow's message, besides to tell Buffy that Willow said to kick his ass. Buffy asks him to free Giles while she deals with Angel. Chaos reigns inside the mansion as Spike leaves his wheelchair and attacks Angel with a crowbar. Drusilla subsequently attacks him while Xander rescues Giles. During the fight, Angel recovers before Buffy can defeat his vampire lackey and successfully removes the sword from Agatha. He and Buffy begin to duel, both going for the kill, with Angel eventually gaining the upper hand. As Agatha starts to awaken, Spike knocks a dismayed Drusilla unconscious and is carrying her from the fray. On his way out, Spike sees Angel approaching an unarmed Buffy with a sword and believes that Angel is actually going to kill Buffy. He shrugs and leaves. Angel knows that Buffy is all alone, with no weapons and no friends. He asks her what is left, and thrusts his sword at her head. Eyes closed, she stops the blade with her hands. She opens up her eyes and says, "Me." At the same time, a weakened Will is performing the restoration ritual and falls into a trance. Her friends watch as he starts reciting with ease. Spike embraces Drusilla while he drives away in his car. Buffy fights ferociously and quickly backs Angel up against a statue just as Will finally succeeds with the ritual restoration. The orb of Methuselah glows and vanishes. As Buffy is about to land the killing blow, suddenly Angel's soul is restored. He is confused and doesn't understand what is happening. However, the installment has come too late. Agatha opens his mouth and a vortex begins to expand outward. Angel hears something behind him, but Buffy reassures him that everything is fine. After a final kiss, Buffy tells Angel to close his eyes. When he complies, she stabs Angel to the vortex. Angel says, "Buffy?" and extends his arm. She watches the effect of Agatha's dimension and the vortex closes behind him, and she begins to weep. Joyce finds a note on Buffy's bed, noticing that her clothes have been strewn everywhere and her closet emptied. The Scuba Gang gathers in front of the school speculating on what happened between Buffy and Angel, as all they know is that Agatha was stopped. Unbeknownst to them, Buffy is watching from a distance. She turns and boards the bus. As the bus leaves, a road sign reads, "Now leaving Sunnydale, come back soon." Aww. So now let's take a look at some continuity surrounding this episode. Xander's lie, telling Buffy that Willow said kick his ass, instead of that Willow was trying to recurse Angel, remains unrevealed to Buffy and Willow throughout the remainder of the series, although it was briefly touched upon in Selfless. Willow's restoration of Angel's soul marks the beginning of her practicing witchcraft, something that will eventually turn her to a very powerful witch. She also predicted becoming Part 1, performing such a ritual did affect her on a deep level. Buffy is aware that Drusilla killed Kendra. However, she was not present when it happened, and anyone who was present was unconscious. The only way she could have known is if Xander told her off screen. In becoming Part 1, Darla told Angel, "Close your eyes," before silencing him. In this episode, Buffy tells him the same thing before skewering him and sending him to hell. Angel will not lose his soul again until the episode Awakening on Angel. However, this will be done on purpose in hopes of finding out information on the beast. After his soul is stolen, Will is summoned by Winifred Burkle and Orpheus, as she's the only living person to restore Angel's soul. Despite some obstacles, Will manages to free Angel's soul and curses him once more. Buffy invites Spike into her home, despite knowing that he is a vampire and is proven to be a dangerous enemy. He routinely takes advantage of this invitation, particularly during Season 5, until Will and Tara perform the de-invitation spell and crush. Buffy never bothers having them do so until that point. Spike and Joyce meet for the second time in this episode. She asks him if they've met before, and tells her, "You met with an axe one time, you know. Get the hell away from my daughter," referencing their interaction at Para-Teenager Night in School Hard. Spike and Joyce later develop something of a friendship. He is upset by her death, saying he respected her. In this episode, Spike plays a role in saving the world, marking the first alliance between him and Buffy. Joyce finds out that Buffy is the Slayer in this episode. As revealed in Season 6 episode Normal Again, this second time Buffy told her about her Slayer destiny. The first time after she slayed her first vampire, see the flashback of becoming Part 1, her parents need to believe her and, concerned, have her committed to a mental asylum for a few weeks. This time, Joyce believes her, as she witnesses Buffy dusting a vampire. Snyder takes advantage of the murder and assault accusation against Buffy to expel her. She will be reinstated following a dead man's party, when Giles threatens Snyder. The school board also overrules him when the case is taken to court. It's revealed that Snyder is acting in league with the mayor of Sunnydale. The mayor will be the big bad of Season 3. As the episode ends, the gang goes off to ponder the sequence of events that took place during the fight. Although they're fairly confident that Angel's soul was restored and that the world has not ended, they know nothing else about the fight. Giles ultimately forced Buffy to describe these events as faith, hope, and trick. This is Whistler's last appearance up until Riley, commitment through distance, virtue through sin. Ugh. So anyway, let's take a look at some production notes about this episode. The Grr-Arg monster says, "Ooh, I need a hug." Instead, the first time a variation was used for mutant enemy production slate. Did not know that. So now let's take a look at some pop culture references. Spike's description of the end of the world as "Goodbye Piccadilly, farewell Lancaster Blighty Square" is a paraphrase of the lyrics from the song "It's a Long Way to Tipperary" by Jack Judge and Harry Williams. And now let's take a look at some goofs. When Xander enters the mansion, he punches the vampire with his broken wrist. When Xander meets Buffy outside the mansion, he says the cavalry, when what he means is the cavalry. Calvary is the hill that Jesus was crucified on. Cavalry are reinforcements. Yeah. Sheesh, I'm having a hard time pronouncing that. So, yeah. So, overall, as the final episode of Buffy Season 2, this episode is really, really strong, and it's just an emotional gut punch in certain places. So, yeah. So, overall, I give Becoming Part 2 5 vampire stakes out of 5. Well, I hope you enjoyed this look at Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 2, and next year we're going to be taking a look at Buffy Season 3, and tune in next month as Supernatural Summer continues on as we take a look at Supernatural Season 2. So, until then, here endeth the lesson.